Welcome to the Unleashed Potential Podcast, the number one Australian podcast brought to you by your hosts, Omar Hassan, Umar Elmi, Abduljabar Haji, and myself, Abduljabar Jama. We discuss both meaningful and everyday topics, so sit back, relax, and enjoy our conversation as we share our experiences.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome again to another episode in the Unleashed Potential Podcast. You already know our names by now, so there's no need for introductions, but you know, if you're new to our podcast, welcome. And what we tend to do is we kickstart this episode with a quick, update of each other and a quick what's on your radar, just to understand, what's been piquing your interest. And then we get into the episode, and hopefully it's a productive and enjoyable episode for you. So inshallah, tune in and listen up. So how you been?
I've been good, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That fro is getting bigger and bigger, man.
Oh.
When is it going to be cut?
I'll do it at the end of November because I wanna grow all this out in no shave November. I wanna see how big it can get.
In November? Are you serious?
Yeah, because we got a thing at work. There's prizes and like all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So I'll give it a go, see how it goes. But probably by end of November it's gonna be pretty hot.
What are you gonna get? A high fade?
I don't know, man.
Go real low?
I don't know what I'm gonna get until the day I'm getting my hair cut. All I've decided is it's getting cut.
It's getting cut.
And then sometimes I'm on the chair going, yeah, I reckon this is what I want to get done. But about that on Friday, my shift got changed to about half an hour earlier. So I'm in the shower and I forgot my shift got changed. I already agreed to it while I was asleep, half asleep the night before. So like, can you come in half an hour earlier? Yeah, just send the text back. Yeah, whatever, it's fine. Completely forgot about it. So I'm in the shower, I come out, and then and luckily, my boss knows me. She knows I sleep in sometimes. So she messaged me and she goes, make sure, don't forget you're supposed to work half an hour earlier today. I'm coming out the shower, I'm going, man, I got to be at work in 15 minutes, Yeah. So I get ready, I go. I don't comb my hair. It's still just wet. It just got a little bit of condition on. And when my hair is wet, it's like curly and down and stuff like that. So I'm going into work, ready for the day, grabbing a coffee, whatever it is. First thing that happens when I walk through the door is I just get people staring at me. And one of the guys in supply, in the lower ground floor of the hospital comes up and goes, man, what happened? What's going on? What happened? I'm looking at him like there's some problem or something's going down. Did someone get fired?
Yeah,
what's going on? What do you mean? Your hair, when did you cut it? I didn't cut my hair. What are you talking about? And so he said, cut the hair. I forgot that my hair was still down.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm like, no, my hair's not cut. I'm like, what are you messing around with? He's like, your hair's cut. And I was like, oh, it's... No,
it's curled?
It's curled up. It's shorter because it looks curled up. And worst decision of my life. I actually finished work a little later because the amount of times I got stopped while working, because I work in a big hospital. So every time I go to somewhere else,
who are you?
Oh, what happened? This and that. How'd you do that? What product? Where'd you go?
Yeah.
And you're just talking, having fun and stuff like that. And after this, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna.
Too much headache.
I'm not gonna deal with that anymore.
But when you have like short hair, it's actually so much easier in terms of time, less stress.
Mm-hmm.
It's less decision making, because apparently you get decision fatigue. Having too
much
many
options.
Too much options or too many decisions to make in a day eventually makes you really tired. So one of the decisions that and in the morning you have a lot of decisions to make, as opposed to like towards the end of the day, because you got to pick what kind of outfit you want to wear, especially if you're going out somewhere. How to comb your hair. Yeah, you're planning the day. What food to eat. All of these things. You're making all these little decisions, and they amount to like a huge amount. So if you can minimize the amount of decisions, even one decision like cutting your hair and keeping it short, man, you're gonna have a slightly more productive day. Because imagine, like, you've got short hair, you just wake up and that's it.
Yeah. Well,
that's one less thing to worry about.
Coming from a Somali household where you got haircuts in the laundry room and it was one size,
no
options.
That was us too.
One size, no
military,
options. Yeah. That's it. No lineup, no fade, no nothing.
Nothing, man.
You're going bald.
That's it.
Yeah. And if it grows more than 10 mils, you're going to get cut again. It's gone. So, yeah, I'm used to it. But actually, this kind of like leads in a bit to my what's on your radar topic.
Okay.
Right. So, firstly, with my hair, I get so many people asking about it often, stuff like that. And the one thing I always try to keep in the back of my mind is that these people don't know about it. It's like their first time or whatever it is. So for me, I'm living with it every day. I know what's going on. For them, they don't. So I get constant questions, constant what's going on, all this sort of stuff. And to me, it's like, oh, that's what they think is best. So when I get people coming to me going, you should cut your hair. I like it when it's short. Or I like it when it's faded. I like it when it's curled. Do this, do that. And to me, I don't care. Because that's what you think is best. You know what I mean? And for me, I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll take that option. I heard it all. So at this point, I'm like, nah. But I was so fatigued on that Friday, right? And I remember just being worn out. And then one of the guys at work comes up to me and he goes, oh, Abdi, man, you're so tired, man. Did you get enough sleep last night? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm averaging around 4.5, 5 hours ish of sleep a day. And he goes, oh, that's plenty. You got plenty. I sleep 4 or 5 hours. I'm up. I'm fine. You don't see me tired. And I know this dude. I'm like, you do nothing. Like, dude, other than work, the 8 hours at work, the rest of the week he's got no responsibilities. None whatsoever. He lives with his parents.
His body's recharging, throughout the day. That's why. That's why I can't sleep.
He literally told me, on Saturday night I only had like 3 hours of sleep. Sunday I woke up and everything was fine.
Yeah, but it was recharging in the daytime, So.
After I digged into it, after Friday at work, he went out Friday night, slept pretty much all of Saturday, woke up. Was out with his friends on Saturday night, slept his 3 hours because he had to wake up because he has like some family stuff with his parents. Did that for a few hours, went straight back to sleep on the Sunday, then woke up and then enjoyed himself, whatever. I was like, bro, you slept like 4 times during the day. Like, what's going on? And it just frustrates me because like with me, it's like, all right, cool. I obviously need to optimize my time. I need to make sure I'm productive and I can fit in what I can. Right, but I also got to make sure I rest enough for that. So it's like this kind of like tight balance you're kind of walking and you're maintaining it. During the day sometimes you're kind of like, oh, I can do this, I can get this done, but tomorrow's so busy and I'm not going to be sleeping much tonight, and you put that on the back burner. You're always constantly kind of managing it, and it's so frustrating when you got those people on the sidelines just kind of like, oh, I get 10 hours of sleep, what are you talking about? Like, you're just not managing your time properly. Oh, I get this, and it's just. And on top of being fatigued, man, I was about to punch someone on that Friday, man. I was like that dead tired. I was dead tired on Friday. Thursday night, I think I did a couple of the episodes edits. I had a few other things to do. And then my sister went to the hospital, minor things, but I had to go there. And this is all, and I finished, I work nights as well. So like I was running on like 3 hours of sleep going into that day. And you're just not managing your time properly, man. Yeah. I think that's I shouldn't have visited my family.
No, of course not, man.
Right.
Yeah, but priorities, man.
So to me, like what's been on my radar, literally this week, I know this week coming up is gonna be busy. I know for you it's gonna be busy, really busy as well this week.
Yeah, of course.
I know the weeks coming up after that, it's gonna ease up for me. So for me, just these few weeks being so stressed, I was kind of like, when you asked me like what's on your mind. My mind was just kind of like, you remember the old TVs when the antenna's not plugged in and it's just all static?
Yep.
That was me in the morning.
And you use one of those little bobby pins or hairpins or something, and you plug it in just to get the...
Just to see if it would maybe put your finger on it, see if that helps.
Bang it a few times.
Yeah, that's how my mind was. And I was like, I might as well, let you know about how I need more sleep.
Yeah, but that's where you realize, the importance of sleep. That's what's on your
radar. I always and will always love sleep. I know the importance of sleep, but like you said, it's just balancing it. But the thing is, the people that think they know it but don't know about it, I shouldn't keep dragging on about. You can see my frustration.
All right, okay.
You let me know what's on your radar. Hopefully, it's something positive.
Well, it's not actually positive or anything. It's just something that I noticed because previously I used to be very socially active on Instagram. And I never
died down on the social medias.
No, that's what it looks like, right? So I used to be very socially active on Instagram. Like I'd go on the newsfeed, I'll check out their latest stuff. I don't know. Like I used to be plugged into it quite regularly. Okay, that was like because everybody has like a social media of choice, right? That they would prioritize as number one, right? You have all these social media. You got Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And and with Facebook, I think it's usually the groups and marketplace. That's where a lot of people spend most of their time, not on the news feeds,
What's it called? Conspiracy theories and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So they're just reading, articles and stuff. Anyway, so there's one of these, that you would throughout the day check on a regular basis. you know, as opposed to the other ones where you might check every 1 or 2 days or 3 days, you know. So for me, Instagram was that one thing. And then I kind of like died down and I switched over to Twitter, and I sort of just tried it out, you know, to see what's going on. And what I realized was, interestingly enough,
you walked into the jungle, brother.
Yeah, I know, man.
Into the jungle,
bro. I realized that a lot of the things that we see on Twitter, or that comes out on Twitter, it comes out months before it's even released or trickles down to Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So I used to think that I was up to date on what's happening on Instagram, you know.
Twitter is the global hive mentality. It's everyone's thoughts. Everyone's tweeting throughout the day. You heard all this, people on toilets, people here tweeting this and that. And what Instagram is, because Instagram is visual, right? So what people do is, people on Twitter, they will accumulate things or whatever it is based on whatever their page is or whatever they do, and then visualize it, either take screenshots, make captions, make memes, whatever it is, and then post it on Instagram. Because Instagram was originally meant for photographers and people that like to take photos so they can share and stuff like that. So it's focused on photos and videos mostly. So that sort of content you'll kind of find more on Instagram, a little bit more filtered, a little bit more kind of put out there. Me, I'm completely different when it comes to social media. Twitter, I'm not going on Twitter. Good luck. I'm barely surviving on Instagram right now, let alone Twitter. So for me, social media in general, I'm not adding you. Well, I'm kind of being more lenient on it now with the podcast and all that sort of stuff, but I'm not adding someone I don't know. So if you look at, especially a couple of years ago, if you looked at my friends and followers, there were people that I could literally go on my phone and call them. I had their numbers. I knew who they were. We hanged out, you know, all that sort of stuff. Like, I know you. Then I'm going to add you to, because it's a private sort of stuff. And then there's other pages, you know, news pages and stuff like that, Islamic pages. You follow them. They don't follow you. They don't see what you're seeing. Everything's fine and dandy. I was never in that whole show what I'm doing to the world, all that sort of stuff. Even if you look at my Instagram right now, it's not me. It's more of things that I've done as a group. So it'll be wedding events with me and my friends, holidays with me and my friends, family event. I don't think you have a single photo of me just by myself on my Instagram. Yeah. Because me as a person, I'm not that type of person that goes, oh, I need to take a photo of myself and then, oh yeah, this looks good, I need to upload it. Like, I never had that. And
that's me. I haven't been like that either.
Right.
But on Instagram or even on Twitter. When I say socially active, that means like
following up on it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I get it.
Just checking, you know.
And so I got into the point where every time I meet my friends, every time I'm sort of here, I'll have certain stuff that they will kind of introduce me to the main things that are going on in the social media world. Because I like to do my research outside of social media, like all the time. Like, you know, in social media, you see a post and it just shows you the headline or whatever it is, and it has the article link or whatever it is. I'm reading that article. I'm figuring out whatever it is, because normally it's, you know, it's social media. It's always like little snippets, you know, because I like to know what's going on afterwards. So I really am not into social, I'm not that deep into it. I gotta like tell myself, oh, you haven't been on social media today, jump on. I'm at work and you'll send me something at work. I'm working, I can't see this, and I'll ignore it.
I understand that, but for me,
But this is what I'm coming to. When we started this podcast, obviously we looked at all the social medias, and I looked at Twitter, and I tried Twitter, and like I said, me barely struggling on Instagram. I don't know what you're doing jumping on Twitter, my brother. Like I know
what you're doing staying on Instagram.
No,
to be honest,
I know you as a person, as a family man. I know how busy you are. Yeah. And I'm going, brother, what are you doing on Twitter, man?
No. I read through a lot of these things. It's not like I'm literally sitting there reading through. Like, I might spend like an hour a day maybe, and that hour is like sort of sporadic throughout the day. So I probably hop on for like 10 minutes, just quickly skim through, and I don't follow a lot of people, so my newsfeed is not filled up, you know.
You need to.
So I just follow those that are very like how should I put it? Very like they're out there and they speak about a lot of the issues that are pertaining to the community, or they speak about some things that I actually want to be interested in reading, you know? So when I see some of these posts, I was like, yo, and then I read a little bit into it. I read a little bit, like you get like the gist of what that discussion is about. And a lot of the times it's really interesting to just dive into it. And yeah, I just felt like, yo, some of these things, even some of the comments that come up from these posts, they trickle down to Instagram a little later. Like I get my wife, for example, that used to show me, hey, have you seen this on thing? And I'm like, I saw that last month. how are you just seeing it now? You know.
Yeah,
So
it's
like
true.
it's interesting.
one
That's
thing-
just the one trend
thing
that I sort of
about
noticed.
Twitter is good is the trending section. Because you can stay away from Twitter completely and just jump on the trending to
Yeah.
see what's kind of like going
Yeah,
on and stuff
yeah.
like that, which I
Absolutely.
do from time to time. With Twitter and Reddit, I'll just jump on real quick just to get a glimpse, snapshot, what's being trending, what's going on in the world, that sort of stuff. But other than that, like, to me, when I looked at Twitter, and I know what you're talking about with the big groups and getting the general idea, and I agree with that. But Twitter to me was more about the personal interaction, people's actual comments on it, and what everyone, the individualism on Twitter, that hive mentality. And I don't want anything to do with that. Because it's just, like I said, it's not more of me disliking it, is I just don't have the time to deal with it.
I get it.
I can't go through all of that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So to get into the meat of the episode, and we touched on this lightly, okay, at the beginning of this episode. We touched on it when we were talking about your hair. We touched on it when we were talking about the issue of having too much going on that you don't get enough sleep. And even now touching on the issue of social media. And basically I came across a 3-word statement that I felt, needed to be turned into a topic, because you can hit it from different angles. You can tackle it, and it can be applied to like different stages in your life. And it's the statement that less is more, So I don't have a defined episode structure because, like I said, you can apply it to many different facets of life. That to narrow it down to just one would just be doing this kind of, it would be too narrow. So what I wanted to do was just lightly touch on all the different aspects that you can apply it to, and basically know what it means to you when you hear these words, that less is more. Less what? More what, And how is it that the concept of less is actually more,
Well, the way I see that, the first thing when you said less is more is if you're trying to juggle too much, you end up with nothing. If you know what I mean? So if you got like 10 tennis balls and you're trying to juggle them, you're going to drop them all.
Unless you're a juggler.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what you mean. You work up to it. But at your current level, if you can't juggle that much, you're going to drop everything. But if you can juggle 2 balls, you're going to hold on to 2. So even though you think 10 is more, I'm going to try to do that 10, you end up dropping it all versus going for the 2 and actually attaining that 2. So sometimes people will try to chew off more than they can, bite off more than they can chew. And what that does is they'll lose everything or more than what they would have if they just took a step back and try to attain like a little bit. For example, if you're starting at something new, brand new, whatever it is, there's no way you can do it full tilt. If you've never been to the gym before, you're not stacking up all the plates. You're not going for it. If you've never driven before, you're not going behind the car, the seat of behind the wheel of a car, turning it on and being a master at it. If you didn't try to be careful and take your time, you're gonna break your leg at the gym and you're gonna go into a pole when you're driving that car. You gotta take your time. You gotta drop back. So sometimes the first thing I thought about when less is more is with your time. Because that's what we were talking about just a little bit before.
So not with the hair. Less hair is more productive, more efficient.
No. More efficiency, more brain power produces nothing.
Okay.
But
right.
But here's the thing. For example, my hair. If you want to use my hair example, I got a lot of hair, but I do less maintenance on it. What I mean less maintenance on it. Obviously, I wash my hair, I clean my hair, I blow dry my hair. I don't style it so much. This is just combed. And like you said earlier, you can get decision fatigue when you have so much decisions to make. And because I have such long hair and I have so many options, I'm not waking up in the morning going, what am I going to do? Shorten this side, part on this side, doing that. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking less. I'm just going to keep it sunnah, one size, comb it out, make it nice and even, and go out about my day. If I want to style it, do it on a day like a weekend or something where I have time to think about it. That's less. But that's also just me. But less is more. And with your time management, with managing what you got to do, the less you got to juggle, the more productive. Yeah, and once you can juggle 2, like you said, then you go on to 3, then you go on to 4. You don't jump. Yeah. Because if you're juggling 2 and you can't juggle 3, when you pick up 3, you're only going to drop 1, right? But if you can juggle 2 but not more, and you pick up 5, you're dropping everything. You know what I mean? So for me, like I like to hit it maybe from the entrepreneurial style. Go for it. So the concept less is more can be applied when you are actually in the early phases of your, endeavor.
to become entrepreneurial, to start a business, or to start, say, for example, a podcast, or to start a YouTube channel page, or to start whatever it is, okay? Sometimes the early phase is the most enjoyable because you have less success. And so you're more hungry. So less success in the early phase sometimes is good for you because it makes you more hungry, makes you refocus and refine the process and make it better, right? So that you can attain more success later on. And sometimes the less people you have, you know, sometimes will make it a lot more faster, focused, and efficient. Like, look at us, for example. If we got, I mean, when we used to have Haji and Almi, you know, join us for these episodes, and inshallah they will soon. But when we used to have them, we used to worry about, okay, the timing for Haji and Almi and you and me. That's 4 people we got to focus and line up in terms of time. That's more headaches. That's more, you know, like it gets narrowed down to the time. Like we're limited.
That's true.
Okay, so all 4 of us might be only available between 2 hours, you know, on one particular day in the week, and that makes it a lot more headache. As opposed to just the 2 of us, we might have a lot more availability slots, you know, and so we can sort of come in and record as much as we want, and like we can just get started straight away. And it's a lot more productive. So sometimes having less people to worry about or less people to focus on sometimes makes it easier. So even if you're going at it alone, even if you're going at it in a team of just 2 people, sometimes the less is more.
Yeah, when talking about entrepreneurialism and business, and less is more, a great example of it is, let's say you're a photographer, all right? And you're very skillful photographer. You work by yourself and you start getting better and better. At first, you're working 1 day a week. It's a side business. Eventually, it becomes 2 days a week, 3 days a week. Eventually, you're making more money than you do at your regular job, and now it's a full-time thing. Now you're working 6, 7 days a week, as much as you can, 7, 8 hours a day. You can't do it anymore. And now you can't get paid anymore, or you're getting paid as much as you can per job. Now your business is as saturated as it can get, right? So some people are like, find more hours, find, you know, sleep less, find more here. But doing less, for example, bringing someone in, teaching him your ways, maybe taking a couple hours a day or 2 off your week to train that guy might now be he might be working half a week and you're taking 50% of his pay or 20% of his pay. So now you're making more money and you're doing less work. Then 1 turns into 2, 2 turns into 3. Then the first guy might start be teaching other people now. Now you're a business owner of a medium-sized business. Now you're sitting down, managing people, doing less work and getting paid way more than you would be. And that's because you took the step back to go, okay, cool, less is more. In that sense of sometimes banging your head against the wall, trying to like lift as much as you can is not gonna do it. In that scenario, is you got a bunch of bricks. I can't lift all of it. I'm gonna lift less, but I have more people to work with me. You know what I mean? In your scenario, it was different. It was, you didn't have a lot of load, but you had a lot of people to feed. So now focusing it down and dropping it down to less people now makes you move faster, less people to focus on. Yeah. So less is more, but the key about it is understanding where to drop back, where to focus on. Because you know, sometimes if you're doing too much, you got to drop one area and focus a lot in like more in another area. Yeah. And you got to know when and where to do that. So less is more is pretty important. So yeah. Another probably big aspect is when it comes to marriage. You know, we hear this a lot, and even the Prophet ﷺ said this, that the small marriage is the one that has the most barakah. But sometimes, you know, when it comes to less is more, when we think about it in terms of marriage, you will see a lot of people, their idea of less varies. So some people might say, it's subjective, right? So less in what sense? Is it in the money sense? Less in the amount of people that come to the wedding? Is it less in the you know, the food that's dished out in terms of how luxury the food is, or like what is it? Less in terms of what? I think for me, I'll say less distractions. Focus on why you're getting married, what the main goal is. The coming together of 2 families, you know, the Islamic and the religious reasons behind it. Less distractions, because sometimes you see people for the whole week arguing about what type of flowers they wanted, what type of decorations they wanted, what type of dishes they wanted, and then at the end of the day, you go, oh yeah, you know, do you know what you're gonna say, or do you know what you're meant to read out in Arabic, or or do you know your procedures, or what you're supposed to do the day afterwards, the religious, and they go, I don't know.
Yeah.
And what have you been focusing on this whole time?
Yeah.
Weren't you supposed to get married? This one really frustrates me because I've had quite a few friends. I'm still single. Got a few friends that got married, and alhamdulillah, I've seen quite a few weddings, right? And the ones that really annoy me is, you ask the person, why do you want to get married? Like, what's it about the person that you like? And they go, it's half of my deen, the religious reasons, coming together, family, spending time together. We want to do a business. We want to go to Hajj. And you look at all their goals and all the stuff they want to do. And then you look at their wedding and it contradicts everything. You're talking about saving money, or like when I ask you where you're moving on to, it's this house, but we're going to rent a different place later because we need to save some money. But you spent $70,000 on your wedding. You said you want to go to a Hajj one day or take your parents, but you just put $10,000 on flowers. You know what I mean? And you just
absolutely.
Family is the most important thing, and you just got 400 people. I'm pretty sure that your family's like, you got only about 50 people in your family. Where's the other 350 people coming from? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm all for somebody who's getting married to actually feed 400 people. I don't have a problem with that.
No problem.
Can, because that's where you get the more barakah as well, right?
But I'll give you an example. We're focusing. Are you going to have a 5-star buffet for
no,
400 people because you want your reputation to be good?
Yes.
Or are you going, this is my wedding day, I want as much barakah as I can, so I'm going to go out and feed 400 people. There's way two different focus.
Of course.
Because if you're feeding people and you want to feed as much people, you're going to feed them good food, but obviously you're not going to go out of proportion. But how many weddings have you been to and it's cleanup time, or it's time to do, it's the end of the wedding, and water bottles, all the water bottles are half full, a bunch of food on the table, half bitten this, half eating that. I'm like, you spent so much money on all of this sort of stuff, and it's for a day and it's for waste. And I go, for me, it's like, if you have the means to, alhamdulillah, go for it. I'm not saying don't do it, right? But when you're contradicting yourself, when you go, I got to save up for a house, I'm scrounging every penny for one area, and in the other area you're just blowing things out of proportions, whether it's money, whether it's time, whether it's being with your family, whatever it is. If you're contradicting, then your focus is gone. So then now doing less is definitely more. One, you're going to save more money, you're going to have more for the actual marriage after the wedding, you're going to have all that going for. And then secondly, the barakah is going to be in there, which helps the wedding, inshallah, it succeeds and goes further on. And it's just you know what, the thing that really annoys me about it, the thing that's still to this day, you can hear me.
Well, if you bring it up to the podcast, then
because it's happened recently. I'm even stuttering trying to get it out. It's so well known now. It's been said so many times. 50,000, it's wasteless. Why are you spending on that? That's clown memes.
Yeah.
And then the next wedding you hear, same
situation.
Next wedding,
same situation.
It hasn't changed.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed.
Because they feel like they have to fulfill. Like that's the bar. That's the minimum. You have to do it the same way they did it. Follow online.
But I was saying everyone is clowning that person for it. For doing it. And then when it's his wedding time, he's like, nah, it's kind of like everyone knows it's a front. Like everyone still kind of knows that clowning that person is still a front. For example, you don't have that much money. You're not going to spend $100,000 on a wedding.
No.
You're laughing at everyone spending $100,000 at a wedding. Now you find a girl that you really like and you're trying to show off and you're trying to do all this sort of stuff. So I come up to you and I go, hey, weren't you laughing about like 100? Yeah, but if you have the means, you can do
now
it.
You're justifying it,
And then you just end up being in square one, and it's kind of frustrating.
I know. For me, I want to look at maybe in terms of having less expectations, right? Because I hear this a lot. People saying, don't have expectations of others and then you'll be happy. Don't have too many expectations and then you'll be okay. So is it truly a fact that if you have less expectations that you are more likely to be happy? So less is more in that sense? Yeah, because I don't know where the saying comes from, but it's expect the worst and hope for the best. So if, for example, if I tell you, Omar Hassan, the podcast at this time, and I expect you to be there,
right? I'm not gonna be like, oh, if I'm like, he's gonna 100% be there at that time because he told me.
I know I came late, man, but you don't have to. You don't have to take a dig.
No,
at it.
actually, well, firstly, Omar Hassan did come late today.
Yeah, I did.
Secondly, I kind of did want him to come a little bit later because he came late. I gotta watch some games.
You get to watch a game.
Then I was
That's why I didn't hear an argument, man, from you saying, "Yo, come on, man, come here quickly because I gotta leave by this time."
See, I hope you'll be here on time. I didn't expect it. See what I mean? So that's what I mean. Like you hope for the best, you wish for the best, because but don't expect it to be a fact. Don't expect it to be guaranteed, because that's life. Life is unpredictable. It's the reason why we say inshallah after everything, because you don't know what's gonna happen, right? So, and if you expect it, a lot of times people have emotions in their expectations. So like, because I expect you to come. That you wouldn't get angry if you didn't really like have that emotional attachment to that expectation, you know. For example, if you had an exam and you were expected to pass that exam and you knew you were gonna pass that exam and you failed, you're crushed. You're absolutely crushed. But if you knew you didn't study the day before, or you only studied the day before like 20 minutes, and you look at the paper and you're like, oh no, I don't know any of this, and you failed. Oh, it was too expected. That was expected.
No,
you know?
Yeah, that's true. Do you know what's funny though? You know, whenever you go into an exam, and I remember this from my days, right? Every time I used to go into an exam and I felt like, oh man, this is a tough one. I don't expect to pass, right?
You do well.
The exam is finished and everything, and then the marks come back and you get an A- or B+, and you're like, what? I did not expect that at all. And you know,
for me, well, exams are a little bit. I'm the type of guy that I can absorb information fairly quickly if I understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So I will study 2 days before that exam. 2 full days, 3 full days before that exam. Walk in, just finish it, crush it, get it done. Walk out, and afterwards, if you ask me a single thing about the exam, I'm done.
Don't remember.
It's gone.
It's erased from my memory. Yep.
Done.
Finished.
Gone.
That's like everybody, because it's like you have to leave enough space for the next exam. I'm serious.
You gotta format it.
Yeah,
delete,
that's it. You know.
And then the
start brand new.
Comes back. You passed. How do you do it? I actually have a story about my. I have a story about it in physics. We had was doing physics in, was this year 11 or year 12? I forgot when it was, right? And Brother Khan was our physics teacher. And just to tell you how I went to private school, just to tell you about how our physics teacher was, we used to have assignments every Friday done on the Monday. And I remember struggling so hard on one of these assignments. And one of my mates messages me online and goes, I found all the answers to the assignment. I'm like, man, you found all the answers? Where? Oh, yeah, some university in the UK, second year, whatever it is. It's like a draft mock paper, mock exam or whatever it is. That's the assignment we were doing. Like, he would make us do, when we got the WACE, which is like the semester exams, which is written by the curriculum outside of our school, we would breeze through that. I'm talking about, we would be done our exams in about half an hour, because we're doing some ridiculous stuff beforehand, right? And so one day we had a test. And so I did the test. I studied of my normal, 2 days before. And so I was like, and it was actually a day before. I remember it was right the day before on the Sunday. And I was like, oh, this stuff is easy. I'll remember it. Let me focus on the hard stuff. So I start, crunching numbers, doing all this sort of stuff. Do the exam, hand it in. The day afterwards, the teachers, we got some, work to do. And we're sitting down doing our work. And, the teacher's marking at the front of the class. And so he just stops and he calls everyone to the front of the class. He goes, everyone come here. I want to show you something, right? He has everyone in the class's exam paper out. He opens to the first question, the most basic question. Everyone got it right. I got it wrong. So he's looking at it. He goes, Abdi, look at this, right? Then he flips it to the back. It was like a 10-mark question at the back of the page. No one got it right. I got full 10 marks. He grabs my paper. He flips it. He goes, how? Explain to me. And he starts scratching his head. Yeah. He's like, how can you do this? And I was just like, I don't know, man. It's erased. I didn't study that. I studied this. Imagine like getting 2 + 2 wrong. And then at the end, you're doing the calculus at the back, getting it all right. It was literally like at that level. Doesn't make sense, he was so confused. He's like, did you cheat? He goes, you couldn't have cheated because you're the only one that got this one right.
Yeah. Like who did you cheat from?
What's going on? But yeah, that was me. That was study beforehand, get everything done, bang, and I'll get it out the way. And as I got older, especially through high school and stuff like that, at the end of high school, I was only doing that to the subjects that I didn't need, or stuff that I already knew. When I got into uni, I was lucky enough. I know I'm joking around, and we got like younger viewers and stuff. At a really early age, I realized the best way for me to study. Everyone has a way that they can study and do it right. I figured out how to study in my way. It wouldn't take me more than a few hours. If a few hours to do if a semester,
once you know how to study, and that's the thing. Like a lot of people don't know,
which is less is more. I used to literally do everything, right? All the papers, all the mock stuff, all that, and I'm sitting there 4 or 5 hours beforehand, going, "Oh, I think I know what to do." But once I really figured out how to do it, I'm studying 2 hours, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." Which is again goes back to the topic, which is less is more.
That's interesting. So. What I want from the viewers is to actually review their life, review their expectations, review if they're in a business, review their endeavors, review every aspect of your life, and look at how this concept that less is more can be applied. The Prophet ﷺ, for example, the Prophet ﷺ said, when you eat a third and leave a third for water and a third for breathing and air, right? So even in that sense, less is more, right? It's more than enough.
Or even if you break that down, eating a different way, if you eat 3 large meals a day, you're not gonna get the most energy throughout that day. If you break up your meals and have more, precise meals at proper times, depending on you, because everyone has different days, times they wake up and stuff like that, and you manage that right, you'll get way more energy. I know people that eat a huge meal and then be like exhausted or whatever afterwards. I said, look, that meal, if you broke it up and ate it every 2-hour period, you won't be full, you won't be bloated, you won't be tired, you won't be exhausted. You know what I mean? Which is less is more.
No, of course, but the way that I was heading with that statement was using it as an analogy for your day-to-day life, for your priorities in life. You might have 3 things that are absolute necessities. Food is a necessity, water is a necessity, and breathing is a necessity for you to survive, to live. There might be certain things in your life, your relationships, for example, they're necessities to stay, to stay in this life and to actually have, a decent life. Your salah is a necessity. All of these things, your deen is a necessity. Your business might be a necessity for you. Work is a necessity. All of these things are necessities. But look at them, review them, see at the optimal or the basic amount that you can get, that you can do less for more, right? Because with everything or with most things, the more you do, it just you don't get a lot of output. Do you know what I mean? You reach a certain equilibrium where you hit, the most amount of effort gives you the most amount of the right amount of effort gives you the most amount of output. Find that point. So find, for example, like your wife and your kids, how much do you need to invest in them in terms of life, in terms of time, energy, and effort, in order for them to be fulfilled and for you to be fulfilled. And it's good that you can do more, but when you do more, now you're affecting your work life, you're affecting all of these other things. So find that right balance, so that you can do less but get more out of it.
And the way I would say is start off a little bit less and slowly increase it, because that's when
Yes.
Because you might go, all right, everything's all balanced now, alhamdulillah, I'm doing all right, I can do a bit more of this. And when you start doing a little bit more, increase it a little bit by a little bit, then you might start going, okay, cool, I can do more, but now it's affecting time at home. So then you can cut it back rather than just jumping straight into it. For example, I know people at work, just recently, they get new contracts where contracts are up, people are getting new contracts and stuff. And they're asking, what days can you work? What hours can you work? And people are going, oh, I think I can and work is kind of annoyed because the last time they did contracts, people are like, yeah, I can do it. Saturdays, I can work every Saturday. And now they're like, I can't do Saturdays. It's affecting my mental health. I do uni Monday to Friday. I don't see my friends. And now this guy's complaining. And like, you signed the contract, dude. Like, you jumped down it. You should have, And so now it's kind of like, take it step back. Do what you think is optimal, and then slowly increase it. Leave room for a little bit of error. It's the same as if you're like, you're coming here to my house for the podcast. If it takes you half an hour to get here, you don't leave exactly half an hour on the dot, because there might be an accident. There might be what you always leave a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Of course. You know, so yeah, so I hope, you know, the viewers managed to get something out of this episode, inshallah. Even though this episode was a short one, we hoped that the less we spend on it, the more you would take from it in a high level and be able to dive into it yourself, and see how far you can get into this concept of less is more. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Should we wrap it up here?
Yeah, till next time, inshallah.
Till next one. Yalla. Assalamu alaikum.